Why, hello, my little readers. Welcome to Ruthy's Reading Room. I'm Ruthy, and my buddy Jaw is over here hanging out with his stuffy friends. We're going to share a story with you today, and it's a good one. You know how I know? I've read it before, and I know the author, Carol Dabney. Are you excited? Oh, I'm giving away too much. I'm too excited. Before we get too far, make sure you run and get your stuffy or blankie and come on back to your reading nook. Okay? Run and come back now. All right. I've given away a bit of it, but let's see which book is coming off the shelf next. All right. Here we go. Butterfly Dreams, A Friendship Takes Flight by Carol Dabney, as I may have mentioned before. I thought, oh, it's going to be about a butterfly. Maybe I would look a little bit more like I'm in a garden. Do you agree? All right, let's put our listening ears on and put our hands in our lap. Very good. But you know I'm going to check, right? So let's use our flamingo. Let's stick with the theme of garden and the outdoors. All right. How's everybody doing? I see we're looking good. Sitting very quietly. Yeah? Oh, good. Oh, I hear you love butterflies. Then you'll enjoy this story. All right, very good. Sitting so quietly. That means you're ready. So I mentioned that I know the author. Carol and I have been in touch, and I know she's looking forward to her book being read right here. She wanted me to share this with all of you. So you may not have a copy yet, but what I'm going to ask you to do is get your grown-up to look in the description below so that you can find out where you can buy your own copy. And the next time you watch this video, what are you going to do? Read along with me, because that's the whole point. I want you all to be excited about reading, and reading along in these books will help you get there. Okay, let's begin. Can you see okay, Ja? Yeah. Lily Jane lived with her grandmother Nana on a farm in Arkansas. Every spring, Lily Jane's favorite thing to do was sit on the fence overlooking the whole farm as butterflies filled the blue sky and painted the clouds with colorful bows. Her beagle, Ragsdale, followed her everywhere. Oh, can we just take a moment? Can you just close your eyes and imagine that? Looking out on that scenery of the farm and butterflies dancing in the air. Oh, it's great. Knowing how Lily Jane loved butterflies, Nana showed her ways to create a butterfly habitat for the monarchs. Monarchs are a type of butterfly. Have you seen them before? Together, they planted colorful milkweed plants in the garden and set up butterfly houses. The milkweed will be a perfect nursery where the monarch butterflies can lay their eggs, Nana said. I think we're going to learn a lot about butterflies in this book. It's always so important to keep learning. Each day, Lily Jane eagerly checked the plants, looking closely with her binoculars. Do I use binoculars sometimes? To check on you. One morning, she and Nana found tiny white eggs dotting the underside of the milkweed leaves. A few days later, yellow and black caterpillars were crawling on the leaves. One looked especially intriguing. Wanting to see the spots, Lily Jane got close. Hola, señorita, ¿cómo estás? Know a little Spanish? Lily Jane jumped backwards in shock. Did she really just hear a caterpillar speak? Was that Spanish? The only thing she could think to do was say something back. Hello, she giggled. I'm Lily Jane. What's your name? Me llamo Carlos. It's very nice to meet you, Carlos. How do you do? Can you imagine having a conversation with a caterpillar? So cool. I'm awfully hungry, Carlos frowned. With one of his many legs, he rubbed his tummy. Oh, poor Carlos. I'm hungry. Lily Jane handed him a leaf to eat. This milkweed will keep you safe. Nana says it's poisonous to other insects that might harm you. So if you eat it, they should leave you alone. Gracias, amiga, Carlos replied. You're a good friend. Each day, Lily Jane visited Carlos. He ate and grew bigger. One morning, she found Carlos crying. Oh no, you see his tears? What's the matter? She asked. I have been watching the mariposas fly all day, he sobbed, looking toward the sky. Mariposas? She repeated thoughtfully. Oh, butterflies. See, I dreamed that I grew wings and could fly too. Tears rolled down his cheek. That's a wonderful dream, Lily Jane said. But I woke up the same, Carlos sniffled. Maybe my dream is too big. Do you think it's too big of a dream for Carlos? Let's find out. She sat him on her shoulder and climbed onto the swing. I think the size of your dream is just right. I believe you will have wings someday. As they sat in the swing under the oak tree, Lily Jane had an idea to help Carlos feel as if he were flying. She told him to hang on tight as she pumped her feet as high as she could. When the swing reached its greatest height, they could see a meadow and the river winding through the valley. They looked at each other and giggled with glee. That sounds like they're having a great time. His biggest smile would come the day she placed him atop her kite during a windstorm. When Lily Jane told Nana about her new friend, Nana laughed to herself, knowing that caterpillars don't really talk, but wanting to protect Lily Jane's heart. She just smiled and gently explained, You are right that Carlos will have wings when he becomes a butterfly. But did you know he will migrate with the other monarchs to Mexico in the fall? Oh no, he can't go, Lily Jane protested. He has to follow his instincts, Nana told her. But why? Lily Jane demanded. It's too cold here in the wintertime, and Carlos will feel himself called to where monarchs are meant to be, Nana explained. He's got to go where he's supposed to be, doesn't he? But I've heard that some can return to their birthplace in the spring. Oh, so there's hope. It made Lily Jane feel a little better to think that Carlos might come back. During her next visit with him, Lily Jane showed Carlos a butterfly picture book and told him what Nana had said about migrating to Mexico. What does migrate mean? Carlos asked. Maybe you're asking that too. To travel a long way. This book says it's over 2,000 miles from where we are in Arkansas to where you'll fly in Mexico. That's a long trip. Carlos didn't believe it was possible. I'm trying to grow mariposa wings, but no matter how much I eat, I only grow more legs. He sighed as he looked down and counted his legs. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. I'm hopeless. Lily Jane couldn't manage to cheer him up. The next day, Lily Jane found Carlos wrapped up inside a little green blanket. She could feel his sadness. As it began to rain, it seemed the whole world was crying. Are you okay? She worried whispered into the blanket folds. From inside, Carlos spoke faintly. I'm trapped more than ever. I can't move. Do you think I'll ever be able to fly? What do you think, boys and girls? Do you think he'll ever be able to fly? I think so too. Lily Jane didn't know what to say. Her eyes brimmed with tears as she ran to tell Nana. Nana held Lily Jane on her lap, comforting her. Not to worry, dear. Carlos is in his chrysalis. Nana explained, a miraculous change is taking place. Soon, Carlos will be the beautiful butterfly that he's always wanted to be. We all become what we are meant to be in God's timing, when we believe. But sometimes it is hard to believe, and we need help from those around us. Lily Jane returned to reassure Carlos that things were going to be okay, encouraging him through the hardening walls of the chrysalis to dig deep inside himself for patience and faith. Just keep believing you're going to be what you're meant to be. Little by little, his green blanket transformed into a clear shell. Through it, Lily Jane could see orange stripes and white spots. Every day she returned to talk with Carlos and see if any changes had occurred. 3 weeks later, Carlos began to strain this way and that as his cocoon shifted back and forth. Lily Jane's heart pounded with excitement as his legs peeked out of the shell. It's starting. Then, with one last big stretch and a grunt, his beautiful orange wings burst through. Mariposa wings, Carlos announced proudly, admiring his left wing, then his right. Probably checking him out, right? I am changed. Metamorphosis, Lily Jane exclaimed. Meta who? He asked. Maybe you're saying that too. Meta what? Nana says it means to transform. You've changed a lot since we met, Lily Jane smiled. First, you were an egg, then a caterpillar, then you were wrapped in a chrysalis blanket. Now you're a beautiful monarch butterfly. Isn't that right? Carlos counted his stages thoughtfully. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Mariposa miracle. Carlos winked at Lily Jane and fluttered high into the sky. Oh, I can see everything. Then he fluttered gracefully back, landing on her head. This time, she winked back at him and said, Your dream is coming true, mi amigo. For the rest of the summer, Lily Jane and Carlos raced around the farm. His dream came true, didn't it? Then the days became cooler. When Lily Jane sat on the fence, there were fewer and fewer monarchs painting the sky. Finally, Carlos was the last one. He had stayed as long as he could, but their last day together had come. Adios, mi amiga, he whispered in her ear. He felt sad about leaving, but was becoming more excited about his journey to the land where his parents met. He knew he would find new friends there, but doubted any of them would believe in him like Lily Jane had. Feeling his wings move softly against her hair, Lily Jane looked down, not wanting Carlos to see her tears. Oh, this is a hard part. As he rose higher in the sky, Carlos waved goodbye with his wing. Lily Jane waved back as they grew farther apart. She sang a sweet song to comfort herself and watched until he disappeared into the sky. With big tears in her eyes, she ran home and hugged Nana, asking, Do you think I'll ever see Carlos again? Maybe my dream is just too big. Who else said that in this story? That's right, Carlos said that. Oh, my dear Lily Jane, Nana reassured her. I think the size of your dream is just right. The end. That's the end of our story for today. That was kind of nice to read about butterflies. It was hard for Lily Jane to say goodbye, but Carlos had to go, didn't he? It's true. Thank you for joining us in Ruthy's Reading Room. John and I appreciate it, and we always love sharing our stories with you. Don't forget to check in the description for a link to where you can buy this book and more information about Carol Dabney. If you enjoyed reading with me today, don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. You'll be notified every time I'm going to read a story. You can come and read along. And remember, the best place to read is wherever you are with the book. I want to send a special thank you to Carol Dabney for sharing this wonderful story with me so that I could share it with you. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time, little readers. Goodbye.
Ruthy's read it.